Creamer Media's Mining Weekly is interviewing Fortune Mojapelo, the CEO of Bushveld Minerals. Fortune, it's great to chat to you again. Please give us an overview of the present state of your business.
Thanks, Martin. A very good time to be talking to you. We've just released our annual results for 2021. I think safe to say that we've gone through as a business, I think as an industry as a whole, a very interesting 2 years, isn't it? With COVID starting in 2020. But I'm very pleased to see that I think we've weathered that storm pretty well. And as a business, we're in a good place for the opportunities going forward. Just in terms of, some specifics, you will recall that we started on this journey to being a producer back in about 2017 when we acquired Vametco, between 2017 and 2018, which was quite transformational for us, taking us from an exploration company with a tiny $20 million market cap overnight to a producer. And we followed that up with the acquisition of Vanchem in 2019. And with those two assets today, we own 2 out of only 4 operational primary vanadium processing plants in the world. These 2 plants we producing significantly into the market. We produced about 3,500 tons last year, which is just over 3% of the global market. This year, we're anticipating producing 4,200 to 4,400, which is itself a significant increase. And by the end of the year, we anticipate to be producing at a run rate of about 5,000 or over 5,000 tons per annum. And these increases are largely on the back of the refurbishment work that we've been doing at Vanchem, where we have brought online now a much bigger kiln, which we call Kiln 3, which is similar in size to Vametco's kiln, and therefore allows Vanchem to operate at similar scales, which is very important from a unit cost perspective. And I think that now with all of this work done, we are in a really good position going forward to be generating decent cash flows on the back of improved unit cost performance. And obviously, we hope that vanadium prices that have seen significant improvements as well will hold up going forward. We think there's good reason for them to do that. So that's in a nutshell where we are with our vanadium operations. You will know that we also have an energy business where we have over the years made significant progress with ensuring that we build that downstream business across 3 main activities: the construction of an electrolyte manufacturing plant, which we are doing in partnership with Industrial Development Corporation, developing a hybrid mini grid at Vametco, which will supply initially about 10% of our power requirements there, utilizing solar and vanadium redox flow batteries. And then thirdly, our investments that we have made into VRFB manufacturing. So we are active across that entire value chain.
The acronym ESG, environment, social, governance. Those 3 letters have become quite topical for miners. How has Bushveld prepared itself to comply with this, especially given the huge contribution of the mining sector to South Africa's economy?
Yeah, I mean, ESG is increasingly very, very topical. You're right. In fact, I think increasingly capital providers are tying ESG performance standards to whether they're going to invest or not. Let me talk about the E element, and which is the environment. You've got the social piece and the governance piece. Very quickly, our overall strategy and approach is one of, let me say philosophy rather, is one of beyond compliance, right? You've got to believe fundamentally in those values around those 3 elements. In terms of environment, being a responsible steward of the environment and contributing positively. In terms of your social stakeholders, meaningful partnerships with your stakeholders across the board, which represent shared value in a true sense of the word. And then governance, adhering to the highest standards of governance. We just recently completed a fairly detailed ESG strategy for our group going forward, underpinned by that philosophy of we want to go beyond compliance. And one of the things that we will also be doing is putting ourselves through an independent verification process to ensure that we can develop an independently verified ESG scorecard that allows when people look at us as a company to say, what our performance looks like. Now, another point I just want to mention is just from a sustainability point of view, Martin, is that especially when you're thinking about the environment, it's not just about how we mine and how we process. Yes, we want to mine as responsibly as possible. We want to ensure that in our processing operations, we reduce our carbon footprint, we manage our emissions, and putting in place things like the mini grid that we talked about certainly also improves our carbon footprint significantly. But beyond that, it's also about making sure that the way our products are utilized also itself drives decarbonization. And what do I mean by that? When vanadium is used in steel making, it promotes strength of steel and reduces the carbon footprint of steel. So the more you actually have high strength steels that use vanadium, the more you're improving the carbon footprint of steel. Vanadium in redox flow batteries and its role in the energy transition, particularly in helping the integration of renewable energy, that's a huge contributor to decarbonization of our energy system. The fact that the electrolyte can be used over and over again speaks to circularity. And one of the key features around metals is why move away from single use, right? If you can use it over and over again, you start to actually promote greater sustainability. And we think vanadium's contribution in this regard is also particularly very, very strong. And I just want to comment lastly around our social partners, right? I was very pleased that we concluded a 5-year wage agreement with AMCU at Vametco recently. And that's just also a testament to relationships that have been improving and growing with our labor, and is something that we certainly want to continue building on. Similarly, when it comes to our local communities, we have put a lot of resources in terms of people to ensure that we follow through on our commitments when it comes to our community partnerships. We have gone beyond what is just required in law in terms of compliance, for example, setting up trusts to ensure that the economic interest for the local communities in our activities is improved and is increased. And I'm very pleased with our record as far as that is concerned. As the company grows and as we generate profits, I'm very confident that the value that is sitting within these trust structures that we have created will certainly be leveraged for the benefit of local communities around us.
And finally, Fortune, what in your view should be the main takeaway from this interview?
I think for me, the main takeaway is that we've come through a 4 or 5 year period, which has been very transformational for us as a business, acquiring assets, bedding them down, ensuring that they operate in a sustainable, stable way with cost positions that support cash generation. That's not been an easy road for us. It's entailed significant investments, and it's happened at a very difficult time with the COVID pandemic, with vanadium prices that have come off. But our convictions about the future of vanadium are very, very strong, and we're very pleased that we have done the actions that we've taken. And today, we have a set of assets on which we are comfortable that by the end of the year, we will be supplying on an annual rate about over 5,000 tons of vanadium. That's just about 5% of the global market, with also a very clear roadmap for growing that production further up to as much as about 8,000 tons in the coming years. We think just getting to that position as a company is a significant achievement that I'm particularly proud of. And I think that bodes very well for us going into the future. The work that we've done with Bushveld Energy, we've built significant critical mass with a number of partners along that value chain. We announced that we can now look to cover this company and allow it to stand on its own and attract the kind of capital that it requires from energy-focused investors to give it the impetus that it needs at the kind of inflection point that it now has. Of course, we will continue to retain a significant shareholding in this company and retain that vertical integration model that we have so often talked about. So I think if the key takeaway for me is that this is a company that is very well poised going forward into a future that's going to require a lot more vanadium, both in terms of the steel sector and the energy sector. And I think you will struggle to find a company that's as positioned as Bushveld is across that entire value chain.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly, speaking to Fortune Mojapelo, the CEO of Bushveld Minerals, which is listed on the AIM in London.